Hello everybody and welcome back to the farm. This video is from the first week of January, and what an interesting winter it's been. Up until this point, it's been about 45 degrees, but just before I had to take a 2-week trip to Las Vegas, the weather took a turn for the cold. It's about 15 degrees in this video, and I never really properly prepared my beehive for winter. I purchased a ready-made hive blanket. As you can see, it's bungee strapped to the hive, but it's super thin and it doesn't fit. So instead, I purchased some of this duct wrap from Lowe's, and I thought it was kind of the foil-lined bubble wrap, but it wasn't. It was kind of this self-adhesive, foil-wrapped thin foam. And it's not really what I wanted, but I bought it, and I stuck some pieces on the ventilation holes at the top of the hive, and I just decided to wrap the entire hive in this stuff as an added layer of protection. My hands were numb, my nose was numb, the wind was blowing, the stuff wasn't sticking properly, it was just a real pain in the butt. But I managed to get the whole hive wrapped, at least with a layer of the stuff. And then what I did is I took a moving blanket from Harbor Freight, and with the wind blowing, I did manage to get the hive wrapped very roughly. And this was a couple layers thick, so it's a quilted blanket. It provides a little bit of warmth. I knew that this was not going to be weather tight, so I came back with one additional layer, just a spare blue tarp that I also purchased from Harbor Freight to wrap some of the equipment with. And I figured the combination of the ready-made hive blanket, the foam foil insulation, the moving blanket, and then this tarp would provide hopefully a little bit of warmth and protection from the weather and the wind for the bees inside the hive, who were still buzzing away at this point. So this took about 20 minutes to do. It was 20 minutes longer than I wanted to spend out here in the freezing cold, but before I could go enjoy the warmth of Las Vegas, I wanted to make sure that the bees were properly protected. They have honey, now they have warmth. And if it's going to snow, then at least they'll be dry and have a few layers of insulation. So all in all, for what this is, it came out okay, and I think the bees will be well insulated and protected. I did manage to leave a space in the front for the hive feeder, and there is also a stick in the front there to reduce the opening just a little bit with some insulation all around it. So I'm considering this job done. Now let's fast forward a couple weeks, and I'm back, and I found something awesome that I've been looking for the last 2 years. I took the long 2-hour drive north of Watertown to the very border of New York and Canada, and man, did they have a lot of snow up here. Back in our area, we still had nothing, but I finally found the house that I needed to be at. I pulled in the driveway, and then I started the 20-minute process of helping them to dig something out of their backyard before I could drag it to the truck and attach it for the long drive home. I finally found a vintage 1960 truck bed trailer that's going to be the basis of a vintage farm stand that I'm going to build for the front of my farm. This is an 8-foot Chevy truck bed from 1960. So I got it home, and a few weeks later, here it is. All the snow has melted, and it's in, fairly rough condition, as I would expect. The biggest issue is the front tongue is bent, but we'll see that in a few minutes. Overall, there's not a lot of dents, there's not a lot of major damage, but the whole thing does need some help, especially inside where rust and rotted wood have taken over. All of this is going to have to be pressure washed, cleaned up, some holes welded, and various aspects of this just generally fixed. Now, I've been wrestling with keeping it looking the way it is or fixing it up a little bit. And I'm going to fix it up a little bit, because if I leave it like this, it's just going to rot away fast. So I want to fix some of the dents, fix the paint, give it some protection, and then build stuff atop it. But the first thing I have to do is cut off this front I-beam, which is bent and twisted. It's a miracle this made it home from Watertown. And then replace it with new metal, a new trailer hitch, and it should be good as new and safe for towing, which is the most important part. But I'm very excited to have this. This is going to be a very interesting process for the spring and the summer. I won't really need it till fall, but at least right now I have it. So remember I said how strange of a winter it is here in central New York? Well, here it is mid-February, it's 60 degrees, and I'm outside in a t-shirt and jeans, jockeying equipment around in my driveway. I'm getting the itch to start fixing things up and move on with some projects. Of course, this is my watering trailer. I have a little bit more welding to do, and then I have to get busy with some plumbing and some battery and power stuff. But I'm very excited to work as the weather avails itself. So some of the other things that I've been doing this winter is accumulating a little bit of equipment from some local auctions. In a previous video, I showed that I picked up some stuff at an auction house in Madison, New York, and likewise, the stuff that you see right here came from a recent auction a couple weeks ago. First up is a very small, portable Craftsman air compressor. This thing is a plug-in 110 volt. It'll come in handy. Next up is a Shindewa backpack leaf blower. It starts up. I tried it. Everything's good. I have to connect a few pieces, but overall, this will be handy to walk around with and blow some leaves at the farm. I also bid on and won for $10 this Avanti airless paint sprayer. This is something that usually comes from Harbor Freight. It's much more expensive, but for 10 bucks I couldn't pass it up. And then for 15 bucks I got another set of snowshoes. It's always good to have a pair of these. They're Tubbs, which is a very good brand, 21 inches, so they're a little bit short, but they'll fit me. And then for the whopping price of $20, I got a Stihl FS55R weed whacker. This thing also starts up, and everything needs a little bit of a cleaning, but for $100 it was a good score. So I always like it when people send me emails and ask me how I'm doing and tell me they like the content of the channel, and ask general questions like what are some of the things I do when I'm not at the farm. Well, here's an example. My house is from 1901, and the cinder block walls in the basement are in pretty rough shape. So for years I've wanted to parge the basement walls, and with a live YouTube event coming up in a couple weeks, I figured, this might be a good time to spruce it up a little bit. You could see how rough those block walls used to be. So this is truly an all-winter project. This takes so long. But after I got a couple walls parged, I moved on to the next satisfying task of drylocking. Holy mackerel, Drylok cost a lot of money. This 5-gallon thing of paint was like $200, and it goes on like thick pancake batter. So all in all, this is not a very enjoyable process, but it waterproofs the walls after 2 coats, and it does make the basement look a lot better and a lot brighter. So I'm just going to keep on doing this for the rest of the winter. So if you ever wonder what I'm doing in the evenings, it's probably this. But like I said, this is all in preparation of a live YouTube event that I'm going to host in a couple weeks from my basement. The advertisement is right here. I'm going to be starting all of my seeds for the coming summer. Live on camera, you could ask questions, or you could just, tune in and watch. I am setting up a second seed starting rack for this. So there will be 1,000 plants getting started and ready for the summer. So with all that said, I think the only other update for this video is that someone in my town was selling this trailer for about 70 bucks. It's of course the old remains of a pop-up camper, but once I strip all the rest of that pop-up camper crap off of this, the trailer frame is actually in really nice shape, as are the tires. So I can certainly repurpose this trailer. It's about 5 feet by 10 feet, and either make it a very small utility trailer, or even better, a field trailer. If I grow pumpkins or other big things, I could just wheel this out in the field and load it up. So, lots of projects happening, lots of things going on during the winter. The winter is snowless right now, thank God, and I hope it continues that way, but that doesn't mean that I'm just lounging on the couch in the evenings doing nothing. I have a lot of preparations taking place for the coming season, and of course, I'm going to keep you posted as things progress. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.